Go. Hey, Nicole, I think we're live. How are you?
I am so excited to be here. It's not very often that we get to have a woman leader in manufacturing on the show. And I'm super excited that we get to talk to Kyle and learn all about the just wonderful work she's doing, just incredibly forward thinking with STI-CO and the e-commerce project. So I'm excited. This is going to be fun.
Absolutely. So this is good. So happy Friday to everybody. And so first off, our co-host who's usually with us is traveling, going all over up and down the West Coast today. So Damon, hello. We miss you, and you're missing a great episode today. But anybody out there, drop a note in the comments. Let us know that you're out there. You want to connect with these amazing, incredible, wonderful guests that we have today. So our featured guest, I'm going to start. We're in Buffalo, New York. We're with STI-CO, and we have a great guest here with President Kylie Swiat. Kyle, happy Friday. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? I'm so glad to be here.
Oh,
I appreciate you having me and everything you do. So.
Absolutely. So Nicole, this was hey, Gary's right down the road. He's in Rochester. So hey, Gary's here today. Gary, happy Friday to you. We've got Val's in the house. So guys, drop us a note. Let us know that you're out there. And boy, you want to dig deep. We're going to go into a really fun manufacturing e-commerce success case study. Now, speaking of case, I want to introduce you to my dear friend, my good buddy, Ryan Case, this handsome devil right over here. So Ryan, happy Friday. How are you doing?
I'm good. You didn't go with just in case or all the other easy ones, so I appreciate it.
I know. So I had to go with the case study. So we have a perfect case study. So we're going to be talking about the manufacturing extension partnerships today. So if you're like, what on earth is that? We're going to be talking, we might be referring to it as MEP moving forward from here. But hey, guess who's next? Nicole. Best. Hey, how about the best hair in e-commerce? How about John Guest? So John, happy Friday, my friend, from above the fray. How are you?
Excited to be here. I can't wait to learn more about the story on STI-CO, and thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I'll tell you, this is just what a privilege working with you, and you've had a front row seat. You've been just really the leader going through this whole process. So we appreciate your expertise and what you've done here for STI-CO. And then last but not least, we've got Lance Romance O-Wide. Lance, happy Friday. How are you, my friend?
I'm fantastic. I'm very, very excited to be here. This was the highlight of my week. That's the build. I was so curious. How are you going to segue? You had amazing segues for everyone saying, how are you going to work Lance in there? I'm just so grateful that you guys invited me on. The STI-CO story is fantastic, and I think everyone that's listening is going to really enjoy hearing it. So.
Well, this is great. And Lance is, just a relentless e-commerce. I call myself the e-commerce evangelist for manufacturers. Well, Lance is just an e-commerce evangelist for anybody in the B2B space at Big Commerce. And so we're going to take a deep dive. And John, we're going to come back to you and talk about, what you do at Above the Fray on helping manufacturers, but really like how you aligned, STI-CO with Big Commerce and why we felt that was the best fit for the e-commerce solution. But what I want to do is I want to come back to our featured guest here, Kyle. And so, Kyle, let's start with this. Great, wonderful manufacturing company, made in USA, women business owned. It's just so much to be proud of. And this is a great facility that we're in. And it's 78 degrees today, no humidity. It's just a beautiful day where we are. But Kyle, just share a little bit, who's STI-CO? What do you guys do? Let's get a little history there on what's going on.
Sure. Well, STI-CO's actually been around since 1967. My dad started the company many years ago, and I worked there as a kid, soldering and cutting cable and all that good stuff through the years. Yeah, unfortunately, he died fairly young, and my stepmother took over the company from there, and then I came on board in 1999. We design and manufacture right here in this building antenna systems for mission critical applications. We do high performance antennas. They're very critical. The communications type of environment that we deal with are very critical. They could be a SWAT application, a covert application, military, locomotive, all different types of antenna systems.
Oh, wonderful. And again, they just moved, Nicole, last year. As a matter of fact, John, if you recall, when we were in the midst of this, boy, Kyle, what a relentless entrepreneur she is. She's like, hey, I'm going to take on this big e-commerce project. Oh, by the way, I'm going to move my whole facility. And how many square feet do you have here? Do you know?
We have about 26,000 square foot. Yeah.
And I might be posting some pictures because I'll tell you, if you guys ever get a chance, John, when you come up next, I know when your Cincinnati Bengals beat us up in the playoffs, I think, was it your daughter that came to the game? Did you share with us? That wasn't very nice. But next time you come up for chicken wings here in Buffalo, New York, we're going to take you on a tour. It's a wonderful, just state-of-the-art facility that they have here at STI-CO. It's just fantastic. And so what they've done, made in USA products, mission critical. We're going to show you guys some examples, but we're going to take a deep dive. Next, what I want to do for our case studies, I'm bringing back my buddy, Ryan Case. So Ryan, let's talk about the manufacturing extension partnership. If anybody's like, hey, what is this MEP that you're talking about? Can you just share quickly, what is the manufacturing extension partnership network?
Yeah, I mean, the MEP, or the Manufacturing Extension Partnership Network, is across all 50 states. It's a program that is dedicated to help small manufacturers, which is manufacturers less than 500 people, get resources and help them grow their business in whatever way possible, whether it's, helping with manufacturing strategies like lean manufacturing, quality management systems is a big one, and sales and marketing also. So then all of the things that a small manufacturer might need, we try to help coordinate and or help implement, different strategies to help small manufacturers succeed across the country.
Oh, that's fantastic. And just share a little bit of like, how did your paths cross, or how did you come into, you're just so passionate working with manufacturers. How did your paths cross, and like, how did you reach out to an MEP to help you with this situation here?
Yeah. Back in about 2005, I'd say, we wanted to become ISO certified as a company.
Nice.
To, show our customers that quality was of utmost importance, and I could see the requirement becoming more and more important in the market. So we partnered with Insyte to accomplish that goal, which was really improved our operation many times over.
Nice.
And then from there on, we have been partnering with them on operational and growth projects for many years. And it's really been a huge benefit because, we've increased our efficiencies. We've grown the number of people we have here, our markets. So in many ways, like there's so many through the years that they've really been a huge benefit to the company. So yeah,
absolutely. So what's awesome is, if you're a manufacturer out there and you're like, hey, wait a minute, man, I would love to have an MEP. Well, guess what? You have an MEP right in your backyard. Do a little Google search or reach out to me and we'll get you connected. But there's an MEP in all 50 states. And what's just awesome is you have high level experts like Ryan, and there's just a wealth of information. There's over 1,300 employees that work at the MEP network in the United States, just working tirelessly, helping manufacturers be more competitive on a global scale. And as Ryan just mentioned, it could be ISO, it could be lean. And now, since COVID kind of came on the scene, they're really doing a great job helping manufacturers with digital transformation, digital sales growth opportunities, and e-commerce. I'm going to slide into Nicole. Guess who's next? John Guest. John, my friend. Can you tell me who is above the fray? I'll tell you, if Noah, if you're out there, Aaron, Chris, boy, the team that you guys have put together, high-level e-commerce firm out of Portland, Oregon. I've had the honor and privilege of working on multiple projects with you guys, but can you just share a little bit of like your e-commerce story and who is above the fray?
Yeah, for sure. Again, thanks for having me today. Above the Fray is an end-to-end e-commerce agency. And what that means, end-to-end means we do it all, from discovery in the beginning when we engage with the client all the way to support and everything in between. We have a team of over 60 employees worldwide. We have offices in Ghana and India and the Philippines, and, basically have a team of highly talented developers that support all the major platforms, in particular BigCommerce, which is part of the story today. So excited to dig into that a little bit more. One thing that I do want to add about Above the Fray when we're talking about who we are, we have an award-winning design team. our chief creative officer, Aaron Hunt's one of our co-founders. And, basically what that means to me is we were founded on principles of quality website design. We use best practices for UX, UI, mobile friendly websites. We make beautiful websites. And so, it's a little plug for ATF there, but, we've got a great team. If it has to do with digital commerce, chances are we've done it.
Well, you know what, John, if you say you're great, say, hey, wait a minute, it might be bragging, but you know what, when other people say you're great, then it's just, it's a testimonial. And I've had the honor and privilege of a front row seat on multiple projects with you guys. Hey, our brother Chris is out there today. Chris, happy Friday. Nama's out there. Nama's going to come on. She's going to be a guest of ours, hopefully coming up pretty soon. So, you guys, just integrity, authenticity. Nicole, you've had the honor and privilege of working with these guys. What's been your experience working with Above the Fray?
Yes, I just think just so professional from the beginning. They really have, from the clients that I've worked with them on, they're really focused on really understanding the business operations very, very deeply. And they take the time to really dive deep there and have a really good understanding so they can architect and customize the solution for that customer. So I've really appreciated their approach there. Because, in manufacturing, every business is so different. Every product is so different. It has its own intricacies and how they sell it and all of that. And so I really appreciate that they take all of that into account and they're really focused on listening to the customer.
Yeah.
So,
And that's exactly what we did is we came in and we did diagnosis and we're just kind of like, hey, what are the needs? And that's, Ryan, reached out and we had a conversation. I'm like, boy, I think the team at Above the Fray would be a great fit here. We connected with John and, his fearless leader, Noah. Boy, we love Noah if you're out there, brother. And so what they felt was diagnosing the situation. Boy, we need to bring in the big guns. We need to bring in the big guys. So Lance, we reached out to Big Commerce. Can you please share with anybody out there, talk a little bit about what's going on at Big Commerce, my friend?
Yeah, thank you, Curt. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Big Commerce, we're a software as a service e-commerce platform, 60,000+ merchants, many of whom are B2B, many of whom are manufacturers. We work with fantastic agencies like Above the Fray and many other fantastic partners to help get manufacturers online. It's a scary world out there. You look around and there's an article every other day about how B2B is moving online. And for manufacturers, especially at the smaller end of the scale, that can be daunting and scary and a bit nerve-wracking, I should say. And you want a path that can get you online easily and get the tools to your customers that they want to be able to purchase products whenever they're online, whenever they come onto the website. And that's what Big Commerce does. So we're a platform that's built for growth. So if you just are getting your products online, we know that manufacturers at different stages of their e-commerce maturity. You might just be getting your products online, or you might be transacting for the first time, or you want to do quotes or invoicing. And Big Commerce supports you at each stage of that journey and will grow with you. And that's what we're really about, supporting our B2B manufacturers along that journey as they're going and letting them pick and choose the partners that they want to use, right? There are hundreds of ERPs out there and many, many different versions. And our ethos is open SaaS, which means you should be able to pick the best of breed partners to use. That's true with agencies like Above the Fray, but it's also true with the tech partners that you use. And they should be easy to connect into Big Commerce. And that's what we've built, an open infrastructure that allows you to connect all of that technology together, that allows your business to grow on an e-commerce site.
Well,
I love that so much. Can I just add something really quick?
Please do.
I just think for manufacturers, the jump from traditional selling to e-commerce is such a huge transformation. And so to be able to meet them where they are, and it really is a journey. It's not just, okay, we're going to launch this and we're done and that's it. It really is a journey and a process for them to try to acclimate to this new way of selling. And so I really love that approach because it is a huge hurdle. That change that they're going through, they're changing their business model. They're changing the way they're selling entirely. They may have inside sales teams that have been doing it a certain way forever. And so to be able to meet them where they are and just kind of hold their hand through that process, I think is tremendously important for these manufacturers to feel comfortable going forward.
Agree
that's-
totally. I just want to say we love the crawl, walk, run approach. I think it works for a lot of those businesses that maybe have been a little hesitant. BigCommerce does support, a lot of those B2B rules out of the box. And so, I think that's the approach we took with STI-CO, crawl, walk, run. We launched the site quickly and now we're iterating. Now we're learning from those customers and it's all fun after that, right?
It's all fun and games after that, John. And what's great, I love what you're saying, because what we've, as you and I've been working together, we've been really hitting hard like that phase approach. Because Nicole, as you're describing it, when you're a manufacturer, I don't know, Kyle, is it stressful running manufacturing? Just understatement of the week, right? A lot of moving parts. When you're a manufacturer like Kyle, 1 minute you've got to handle HR issue, then next minute a finance issue, then supply chain, then labor shortage. I mean, it's been very challenging. And so now to get into this digital transformation, can be a little, so John, I love how, above the fray, we've been really focusing on, taking that phase approach. You guys came in with what you call the rapid deployment. I just absolutely, love that phrase, love that line. We're going to come in, and what a great deployment for here at STI-CO when you're selling covert antennas. But Kyle, let's turn to you now. So what was going on? What event occurred where, did you have an aha moment where you're like, you know what, I've got to get into this e-commerce game? Where was your mind when you reached out to Ryan to kind of go this direction?
Sure. Well, I always try, even though we are a small company, I try to be like a large company. A lot of our customers think we are a larger company than we actually are. So one of the things I've noticed is, I want to make it easy for the customer to get information that they need and to quote and then eventually place orders online. So that's one of the biggest things that I saw in this, was try to have the benefit to our current customer, and then down the road, hopefully gain some brand new customers that maybe wouldn't have bought from us because they had to either email or call us. So I just felt that this was just a natural progression, and also another way to compete, because like I said, a lot of the other companies are large and they're moving very quickly with e-commerce and other types of, online activities. So.
Right. So Ryan, let's turn to you. What are you hearing? Words on the street, boots in the street. What are you hearing from other manufacturers as far as digital? I know you and I talk a lot about, different SEO strategies, but what are you seeing from different manufacturers that you call on as far as trying to make that digital transformation?
I mean, it's all over the board. Right? I mean, so when you're talking about a customer base as diverse as manufacturing, and
right.
ownership, in terms of experience and level and
right.
and where they want to take their business. I mean, it is really all over the place. But I find the folks who are really thinking about that 5 year from now, 10 year from now aspect of life, that they're diving into it.
Right.
And so it's the forward thinking, people say, how am I going to be a viable business in 2033? Is that 10 years from now?
That's right.
And so, what are they doing to get there now? I mean, those are the folks that are really driving the conversation in manufacturing. Yeah,
I love that, playing the long game. And John, we're probably both a little biased. Is there a manufacturer out there that shouldn't be on e-commerce? What's your comment there on that question? Huh?
I mean, I don't think so. We talked about maybe some of them have been hesitant in that industry, but at ATF we've invested in that in manufacturers a lot. NOAA works very, very closely with AEM. We go to shows and expos every year with manufacturers. We know there's something there. We know the mindset is shifting, so to speak, and more coming on, and we think it's just we like working with those manufacturers, and so that we've invested heavily in it. It's coming.
I love it. Go ahead, Nicole. How about that comment right there from Whitney? So I was on a show with Whitney recently, and I didn't put this together, Nicole. So she lives in Houston. They call her Whitney Houston. So anyway, I just wanted to share that real quick. Well, I know she's talking MEPs or MVPs, but Nicole, what were you going to chime in?
Yeah, I was just going to say, to John's point, I mean, Gartner just came out with a study last year that over 70% of the buying process is now happening online, and that's for B2B buyers. So B2B buyers are online, they're doing their research, that's how they're trying to find and vet their vendors. And so it's just the data, the customers, the market is telling us that that's where manufacturers need to be if they want to get in front of their prospects and their customers. So yeah.
Yeah, and John, from a e-commerce standpoint, if there's a manufacturer out there that's a contract manufacturer, custom manufacturer, they're like, hey, wait a minute, I don't have that proprietary product. I feel left out of the e-commerce game. And I'll tell you, that's where, for our preach with like the MEPs or working with those custom manufacturers, we've been really trying to preach to those folks like, wait a minute, there is plenty of e-commerce opportunity for that custom manufacturer. We've got a great question here from Paul, and I'm going to slide right into this. And so I'll throw this to Lance. I'm going to start with you, John. I might come back to you. But if I have a proprietary product, and we're going to show a few here from STI-CO, some of these great products they have. But if I have a proprietary product, I can certainly put that on e-commerce. If I'm a custom manufacturer, boy, I have an opportunity for configurators. John, let me start with you first. Let me get, anybody who comes to our show, they know I'm a huge configurator fan. You guys offer a powerful solution at Above the Fray. Can you just explain, like, what is a configurator and how does that work for manufacturers?
Yeah, so a lot of the manufacturers may have those smaller pieces where you're going in and customizing, and that can be done on e-commerce. We've built some pretty sophisticated configurators where you can take that base product and go in and customize. I think one of the best examples is Nike tennis shoes does it, where you can go create your own colors on it. And we've had plenty of industries and manufacturers that we've built those configurators for, and it's possible and it's doable, and it's a pretty slick experience online too when you get those.
It's a great experience. We have numerous clients that are going that direction, and boy, the doors that it opens. Just, and I could talk all day about it. From an SEO standpoint, it's very powerful, given that, as Kyle was saying, like, I want, did you catch what she said earlier? Nicole, I missed that. That was a mic drop moment. I wanted to make it easier for my customers to buy, right? So Lance, let's talk a little bit about BigCommerce. As you're kind of sensing from this stage, we love that you guys are just so dedicated to helping manufacturers going in this B2B space. So for those custom manufacturers, can you talk a little bit about, like, why is BigCommerce such a great solution as far as like configurators or those customized solutions that they're seeking?
Yeah, I want to follow up. Nicole threw out a stat. I want to throw out one as well. One of our agencies, they did a study recently, and of buyers, a very big agency out there. The number one KPI for a B2B buyer is purchasing efficiency. That's what a buyer cares about. Purchasing efficiency. They want the process to be easy and simple and fast and quick, because time they're spending purchasing is time they could be spent with their families or walking the dog or with the kids, right? And that's what you've got to have in mind. You're doing this for the customer. Now, there are sales team benefits too, and those are great, and we shouldn't forget about those. They're great for the manufacturer, but we got to put our customer hat on when we're thinking about why we're moving on to e-commerce, and that's what we're driving for. So I love the story here, right? Which is, what are the customers? Let's make the process better for our current customers first, by bringing in the quotes, right, and allowing them to quote the product, and then we'll move to transacting online. And I love that story. But to your point, right, which was really around configuration. Configuration is key. That's about being able to build the product and then quote it. So with the BigCommerce B2B edition, quoting is built in, so you can you can build that quote out. But our ethos is really about being open. There are lots of configurators out there and lots of configuration partners that are being used by the manufacturers using BigCommerce today. And what we've done is we've opened up the APIs, not to be too technical, of course, but we've opened up the channels such that any configurator can be built in. And that's what an awesome agency like Above the Fray can do. They'll build that in, and they'll build you a fantastic front end that will allow you to customize that on the fly and then price it, right? And then if you want to, go all the way through to a checkout, right? From a quote and then to a checkout. And that's what, that's the dream. I think that's the dream anyway. Not everyone might agree with me, but to me as a manufacturing e-commerce evangelist, that's what I love to see. I just think that's the process that customers want, and the sales teams love it too. They can focus on getting new customers, right? Rather than having to pick up the phone and take those quotes over the phone.
Yeah, and it absolutely works. I mean, we have a client that has implemented this amazing quoting configuration tool. They're in the solar industry. And so their installers can go to their website and basically, set up and spec out their entire solar panel system, get a quote right there, and it's working amazingly well. So it absolutely works. I've seen it work, and it's exciting.
There's an example on BigCommerce of they're a very big manufacturer. They sell custom desks, and the number of configurations once you've added all of the different types, it's millions. It's just, there are so many different types of configurations, and they've got a beautiful little GUI where you can see what's being added and you can change all the colors, and it's fantastic. Right?
It's just so exciting. And just look at the tools that manufacturers now have. And again, as we're striving to be as competitive as possible on a global stage. Now, Nicole, on a side note, I need to pull up something here. So our dear, Whitney Houston says, now, Nicole, do you want to sing that? Kyle, did anybody here?
Oh, man.
Whitney, did my mom call you for that one? I don't know. Thank you, Whitney. I love you too. So, all right, we'll keep the party rolling. So let's get into some products. So, I want to give everybody an idea of like, hey, it's great. I hear you're talking about it. I'm a manufacturer. I've got a little bit of FOMO right now. I want to get into this e-commerce party, but I'm going to start pulling up some examples of products that are being manufactured right here in the United States, right here in Buffalo, New York. And so, Kyle, can we talk a little bit about some of the products? Let's give a couple ideas of what we're doing here.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, we always try to come to market in a unique way to help solve a customer problem. So we're not always a commodity item, and that's where the differentiation and the configurables all come into play, especially with the website. But one of our antennas that we came to market with was this flexible whip antenna, and it comes in a number of configurations with different types of connectors and so forth. But the uniqueness about it is that you can actually bend it and tie it even in a knot, and it won't break. So that reduces the issues out in the field on police vehicles where they can't communicate because the antenna broke. This has been huge success, and this is just shows an example of kind of how we come to the market. We also, and this is one of the challenges with the e-commerce, but we have been able to, thank you, work within the system, the e-commerce site, is that this is a covert antenna. It comes in different sizes, different frequencies, and different types of cable and connectorization. So the covert antennas are law enforcement folks purchase, so they can't be spotted. We do all kinds of things on vehicle. We hide antennas all over cars, so you can't be spotting them. This has kind of been one of our mainstays, original types of products that we launched way back when my father started was covert antennas. So this gives you an example, and we incorporate that flexible whip once again to eliminate breakage, because that's a big problem in the field. So again, we do high performance antennas to really make sure that our customer is safe, because they are often in a high risk situation. Another antenna that we do, which is more of a tactical antenna, so it's a little bit of a difference, is this one up here. I think you could see portion.
You guys see this back here?
That's an interoperable deployable antenna that was actually developed after 9/11, because the firemen and policemen, they couldn't talk to each other. So we devised this antenna with a multi-coupler, and that allowed them to talk simultaneously using the one antenna to each other. So it was a really exciting product. And even to this day, we sell thousands a year of this. So when we're looking at a new iteration of this, because this one currently is takes about 10 minutes to deploy, and you have to screw in the radials. We're looking for actually an umbrella version that I'm super excited about, that will help the setup be much quicker. And this is used by National Guard, U.S. Army, and Homeland Security departments across the country and the world. So just to give you an idea of some of the things we do. We also work on locomotives. So we've designed antenna array systems that go on board. Show you, if you want to show one of many types of antennas that we have. But we design and optimize antenna systems on locomotives and passenger rail systems across the country as well. and it's a fairly complex situation on board locomotives with a lot of technology. So that's been a really fun and challenging market for us.
Right.
So.
Excellent. All right, Nicole. So for you guys that are new to the program, we have these things called like moment of silence, just when like somebody, we have mic drop moments, then we have moments of silence. Is everybody just beaming with pride of like what's being produced here? When you think about like our first responders out there, and right here at STI-CO, Kyle and her amazing team, I think 50 strong, give or take, and, making these products that are, helping our first responders, helping our folks in military, saving lives. I'm just getting chills even thinking about it. This goes on top of rail. You look around the room that you're in right now, and every item in your room, and your car, wherever you're at, was somebody's vision. It was somebody like somewhere, some point, there was a problem that needs to be solved. And like, hey, and what do manufacturers do? They are problem solvers. Like, hey, we're going to make this, we're going to solve this. And just how about a little round of applause for Kyle and the team here at STI-CO, man. I feel like running through a wall right now. So Ryan, you're at the MEP. You get no wonder you're at the MEP. You get a taste of this on a daily basis. What are like some of the cool things, or like what inspired? Let me change the question. What inspired you to pursue a career in manufacturing?
So I'm an engineer by trade, and for me, in the MEP standpoint, is that I worked for large multinational Fortune 50 kinds of companies,
right?
And was doing stuff all over the world,
right?
And the opportunity to work and take the knowledge that I gained through all my travels, right, and deploy it in Buffalo, New York, right, my home. Right. It was just too much to pass up. Right. So that, and then you start working in just small manufacturers, and you see all these wonderful things that right, small manufacturing people are doing, these ingenious ideas, these cool little segments of where people are working, serving markets, helping people, or it's just super cool. And then right, at the end of the day, you're helping people create jobs for your neighbors.
Right.
So families are getting fed because of manufacturers. So life's good.
Right. Man. All right. Another mic drop right there, Nicole. So, John, let's turn to you, my friend. At Above the Fray, I'm gonna come at you with a similar type question. You guys are just doing amazing work. You just said global, 60 employees strong. You're very passionate about helping manufacturers. What inspires you, or why are you guys so you could cover all sorts of different industries? Why are you guys so passionate about working with manufacturing?
We've spent a lot of time with manufacturers, as I pointed out earlier. One thing that we do, large custom builds for some of our clients. They come to us with all these requirements. They can be well into 6 months of development time to a year plus. They can be 6-figure budgets, and we recognize that that's not necessarily the case for all the clients. So, we spent the last year creating Elevate, which is our rapid deployment for BigCommerce that, for those clients that come to us that don't have those requirements, that don't need to integrate with an ERP right away, can, and maybe don't have those budgets, can turn it around quickly. I think once we started the build phase with STI-CO, it took about 6 weeks to actually build it. Of course, we had some design before that, but we spent a lot of our own developer time to create that, to make it easier for those manufacturers to come in, dip their toe in the water on e-commerce, and iterate from there. I think one of the things Kyle said that just struck me, and it makes me want to shout it from the mountains. She said, "What can I do for my current customers who are used to doing the RFQ process? And then we can add it later." And that, if anybody takes anything from this today, that's the thing I would recommend for manufacturers who are listening. Take that in. You don't have to do it all day one. Let's get online. Let's start transacting. Let's learn from your customers and iterate from there. So,
you know what? And I'm going off script a little bit, John. I'm going to talk about customer portals. You guys are huge on customer portals. So for the manufacturer out there, especially like custom manufacturer, where they're like, hey, wait a minute, when I'm thinking e-commerce, I'm thinking, God bless you, I'm thinking, boy, my spouse bought something on Amazon, comes the next day. This is a little bit more complicated. And I know, no disrespect to any manufacturers, they're like, hey, our process is a little bit more complicated. Talk about like the customer portal. Like I tell you, I feel like you guys just hit it out of the park going that direction. Can you just kind of explain what the customer portal is and how that's a great crawl, run, walk, run, good phase one?
Yeah, so a lot of the times these buyers are different. A lot of the time they're purchasing managers. They have long lists of products that they're repurchasing. And so a lot of these B2B tools, offer quick order functionality where you can, import the list of the products you're buying. You can enter it by SKU. A lot of them have requisition lists where you can keep track of those in the portal, and makes it easy to go back the next time and repurchase those products that you're buying multiple times throughout the year. And so, the portal is a great way to start, especially for B2B, especially for manufacturing, to, again, concentrate on those current customers. How can we make it easy for them to transact online and then iterate from there? So.
All right, perfect. So Lance, I'm gonna pull up a comment I caught earlier. So Paul asks, okay, configurators are one thing, but to make it to print, make to CAD business, that isn't any use. I'm interested to know if you have any costing engine. Any comments there from either of our esteemed panel?
I think we need to dive into it a little bit more, but with exactly what's needed there. But with BigCommerce, you can have price lists, so specific pricing for different customers, and you could price the individual items that might be needed for that. But again, right, our ethos is open SaaS, and so you have access to the tools to be able to build it. And so I'll look to my left at my friends at Above the Fray, who would love to dive deep into that conversation and understand how, as BigCommerce as a base and powering that e-commerce engine, you could build that, because I promise you they can solve it. And I've seen cases where merchants on BigCommerce have created sites where you can upload a CAD, and in the background there's a lot of calculation being done, but a price can be configured, and then you can check out with it. So out of the box, maybe there's some customization that will be needed, but folks like Above the Fray love those problems.
Yep.
Yeah, I really actually got excited when I saw it. Would love to have some chats about that, and I think he nailed it. Let's have a little pre-discovery. Let's flesh out those requirements. But I got excited.
Yeah.
Configurator.
That's right. Another configurator. And there's just so many solutions going on here. Hey, we got Nicole, we got John Baglino's here, Diane Byers. So guys, happy Friday. Again, I know we're coming in, we're over the top of the hour. I haven't been paying attention to the time, Nicole. So maybe I don't know if you're watching the time. I'm having so much fun. But guys, drop your comments here. If you have any questions, again, MEP, we've got Ryan Case from the MEP. Check out your local manufacturing extension partnership. We've got John Guest here from Above the Fray. If you're looking for e-commerce solutions, we've got Lance Romance from BigCommerce, Big Powerful Solutions. Nicole, I'm going to come to you for a question, though you're my co-host today. How about why are you so passionate about helping manufacturers?
Oh, great question. I love it. I'm so glad you asked. Manufacturers are the unsung heroes of our economy. They are the backbone of our economy. My father owned a manufacturing business successfully, and I love the people that work in these businesses. I just think they're doing amazing work, and it should be recognized. And so many things, I'm looking at my desk at all of these things sitting on my desk. They were all manufactured somewhere. And I just think, man, we got to celebrate it. We got to celebrate the work that's being done. We need more and more people to get into manufacturing, especially women. And that's one of the reasons why with my business, I wanted to specifically go in that direction, because I just love, especially American manufacturers. So,
well, how about this? Ryan's getting some love here from Diane Byer. Diane's with TAC. So MEP, we love our MEPs. And she says our backbone, absolutely drop the mic. So that's perfect segue. So when Dad started this company, had a vision, dream, and built this up, what a legacy. And just for the record, if anybody was wondering, so I'm 1 year younger than this company, Nicole, by the way. So I just wanted to point that out. So 1 year, the company beat me by 1 year. So since 1967, STI-CO has been providing incredible products throughout the country, providing just wonderful jobs. I've become friends with a number of folks here, and just, what a great team here. You could have gone different directions. What attracted you to come into manufacturing and kind of carry Dad's legacy?
It's really, quite honestly, to, I'm super proud of what he built, and I wanted to continue that legacy and keep it for the future. He was a ham radio operator, engineer, wannabe cop. And, he loved antennas, and he knew a lot of police and law enforcement. So he discovered a real need for the covert type of antennas. So I felt, what a unique industry, what a great, opportunity to just keep, his legacy, continuing. So I'm very proud of that.
Well, excellent. And we're talking a little bit about the future of and I've talked with your engineer, your sales team, just kind of like, where do you see things going? Your excitement with the e-commerce store. What do you see for the future here at STI-CO?
Well, again, I foresee it's a revolution or evolution out of revolution. So in the e-commerce site, we're heading towards, we have the ability to do the quoting, and then we're going to be moving, like I said, at some point into hopefully full e-commerce, but still have the ability to connect with our customers, via email and phone. But as far as like the company itself, I foresee us getting more and more into the military market and some other types, 5G technologies, MIMO. You see it all with just your cell phones. Technology is changing very, very quickly. So we're looking towards disaster communication kits, other types of business too, where we can integrate different types of technologies together to provide a solution to our customers. So that's how our strategy for the future.
Excellent. So MEP's future for manufacturing, workforce has been a challenge. Supply chain's been a little challenging, kind of boots in the street. What are you seeing as far as direction for manufacturing overall, kind of clients that you're working with, or what are you hearing as far as the direction going?
I mean, they're going up, right? I mean, so the orders are full. I mean, for the most part, factories are full, and there's a huge need for continued evolution. I think that was a great word. From not only from your interaction with your buyers and your sales and marketing, but from your factory with automation, or you've only got so many people working for you now. So how do you get the most out of that? Whether that's lean, whether it's adding some automation, there's a little of both. How do you integrate it smoother, from the front end down to the back end? But it's really about evolving, and those who don't evolve, won't have the opportunity to. So you just got to keep going.
That's all right, man. Was that another mic drop there or what, Nicole? So that was
so good, Ryan. So good.
We're gonna start winding down. So guess who's next again? John. So, John, is future of e-commerce? Where do you see folks going? There's a manufacturer going out there, and they're listening to this. They're like, man, dude, you had me at hello. I'm just so fired up about e-commerce. What's like a 101? What's like a good first step for a manufacturer out there? Any advice that you would lend to kind of get that e-commerce journey started?
Yeah, I mean, I would start with an agency, whether that's above the fray or not. We have a philosophy that, every client that we go through a pre-discovery process with, if we're not the right fit, we're going to help you and guide you. And even if that means you're going to another agency, that's fine. And that approach has worked well for us. Not every client that we run through a pre-discovery do we end up working with, and that's fine. We want to help people, and as long as we take that approach, it works for us. So reach out to an agency. They're going to ask the questions. They're going to help guide you to flesh out those requirements. They're going to make a platform recommendation that would work. You can start, going through that process to see what that first iteration would look like. And I would start there.
Right. Love it. And hey, I want to shout out to you, your team, your passion, your dedication. I tell you, just, you're a guy of integrity. Just love working with you. And I've learned so much. And so hey, how about a round of applause for John Guest for being a great guest on the program today.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Hey, Gail's here today. Gail, happy Friday, man. Bam, another powerhouse show. So Gail, thank you for joining us. We are having a blast. Guys, if you came in late, I encourage you, I invite you, I welcome you. Hit the replay button, man. Just catch us anytime. You can catch us on our website. You can catch it on social. You can catch it on Damon's LinkedIn profile. This was just a great conversation, incredibly inspiring. Women in manufacturing, we're talking made in USA. Lance, let's slide over to you, my friend. Any advice for a manufacturer out there, like they're just kicking off, just starting their e-commerce journey? Where do they start? How do you reduce that overwhelm and just kind of get that party started?
Yeah, and I think an agency is a great place to start. It's really about understanding your customer, right? And Carl touched on it, and you should put it so well. But you have to understand, what is your customer's buying journey? What do they want? What do they care about? We know their KPI. They care about purchasing efficiency, but what does efficiency mean to them? And I tell all of our manufacturers, start there until you've understood that customer journey. And their desires. What do they want from an e-commerce site? It's very hard to start on a transformation, and so that's my advice to all manufacturers out there. Start there. Once you've done that, find that agency, and then hopefully that platform they recommend will be BigCommerce, because we're the best for B2B manufacturers out there. And you'll get online, and suddenly the world's your oyster, and you'll be able to iterate and improve and go from quoting to live transacting. And you'll have a fully fledged manufacturing e-commerce business that is powering growth well into the future.
Nicole,
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic moment right there. So Lance, that was phenomenal. And so guys, you want to connect with Lance on LinkedIn for sure. Boy, I saw you had a vast, you were at UBS finance career. And again, I think you're just getting a sliver of just the amount of talent and just passion of folks that are just dedicated to helping manufacturers from different walks of life. John, long e-commerce history that you have that you bring to the table. And I love what you guys are saying. It's like, find that trusted guide, someone that's been there, that's gone through the trenches in this space to help get you through it. It's not perfect, is it? It's a little challenging jumping into this e-commerce journey for the first time. Nicole, I'm going to slide over to you, my friend. Any parting thoughts is from your perspective? I know, boy, you've been front row seat working with Kyle and the team here at STI-CO. You've gotten a great flavor of what's going on with these covert antennas, rail antennas. Any parting thoughts that you want to share from your perspective?
I would second everything John and Lance said. I think that manufacturers need to think long term. They need to think long game. When you're going into e-commerce at first, it may seem like this massive, and it is, it's a big investment, right? But if you think long term and really understand what those efficiencies are going to be once you invest in e-commerce to your business in terms of labor efficiencies. For example, a lot of manufacturers that we work with, they have purchasing agents that are purchasing their products over and over and over again. Those people don't need to call and talk to someone to reorder. That's time that those sales reps could be spending doing something else. And just think about how that time adds up over time, and the incredible efficiency that you can build into your operation as a manufacturer by just letting all of that happen online, So I think for manufacturers, you just got to think long game. You may seem really overwhelming at first and it's a huge investment, but you're not looking at just this next year or even next year. You're looking at, where do you want your company to be 5-10 years from now, and building the infrastructure to get you there so that you can realize some of those operational efficiencies. So that's my advice.
And one thing I would just say is, John and the team there, they really kind of walk you through it. They spent a lot of time and took it in small steps, but quick steps. And so they really helped that way, because obviously we knew nothing about e-commerce. So they're very patient and helpful. And I have to say, really made that transition much easier on us.
Well,
so,
how about a round of applause for John and the team there? So great job, John. So that was fantastic. So I'm going to give last word to our esteemed our premier guest today, Kyle. So Kyle, you jumped into e-commerce. You want to make it easier for your customer. I love, Lance, what you said. Just that efficiency is just so profound. Moving forward, if talking to your younger self, I have a young teenage daughter, so the next generation coming up. Okay, women in manufacturing, we need young people in manufacturing. should, or why are all the cool kids, and if they're not thinking about it, why should all the young folks be considering going into manufacturing?
Well, it's needed. There's such a demand for USA-based companies, especially that was really highlighted during COVID. So there's a huge opportunity I see for anyone, male, female, whatever. But definitely females, I think, kind of sometimes bring a different way to do business and do it maybe slightly different than maybe some of the traditional. But either way, I just foresee a lot of opportunity for manufacturing in the future.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
On that, I think we'll start winding it down here, Nicole. So, all right. First off, guys, if anybody, for everybody out there catching us, Whitney, Diane, John, Gary, everybody's been dropping comments. First off, thank you, boy. We appreciate you. Everybody joins us week in, week out. We never take this for granted. And just, everybody that comes here is just so passionate about helping manufacturers. So if you've been hanging out, if you've been sitting for the past however long that we've gone, this is a great opportunity. If you want to stand up, maybe get a little stretch. And how about give a big standing ovation for this esteemed panel that we put together. I don't know how I'm so fortunate and so blessed. So I'm going to go around the horn. So John Guess, Above the Fray, please connect with John on LinkedIn. John, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Lance, appreciate you, dude. This was just great. Love your passion, your expertise. Thank you for what you're doing to help with manufacturers. Ryan Case, if you're local here, you're lucky. You're lucky to have a guy like Ryan. But again, there's 1,300 representatives with the MEP network around the United States. Just Google Manufacturing Extension Partnership. They are there to help you as a manufacturer. And of course, another round of applause for Kylie Swiat, president of STI-CO. And again, this came out of 9/11. Look at these products that she's putting together for our military, for our first responders. So again, thank you. What an admirable, what a great way to make a living, huh? Something to be proud about right here. There's 50 some lives that are out in the community thanks to, her leadership and her vision. And so we just appreciate Kyle. Nicole, thanks for phoning in today. I appreciate you more than you know.
This was such an awesome show. And thank you, Curt. I mean, you brought all of these masterminds together to put together this really awesome solution for STI-CO. Look at you bringing all these superstars together. So thank you. Thank you for all the work that you're doing to really help these manufacturers. It's so inspiring. And I just think it's so great to be part of this project and love it. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And hey, we're getting some comments here. So, hey, Gary, again, Gary's down the road in Rochester, New York, and say, hey, again, Whitney, Houston, thank you guys. So, hey, we're going to sign off. We thank you. We appreciate you. And we'll sign off on this. So Lance, John, Nicole, I'm going to ask you guys to hang out 1 second. We're going to close out. But how we close out, guys, is just be someone's inspiration, man. If you weren't inspired by all this and this panel today, boy, Nicole, we need to check our pulse, I guess, if you weren't inspired. But just go out and be someone's inspiration like Kyle and the team here today. So, guys, thank you. We'll see you guys in our next program. And so have a great weekend. God bless. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks,
everybody.